Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for a moment to talk about a vote we'll have tomorrow in this chamber on a motion to adopt an amendment to the supplemental appropriation passed by the House. And it's a disaster amendment dealing with the states that have been afflicted by disasters over the last 2 years. Most of them southern states, but not all. Some of them include the territory of Puerto Rico, and I'm going to go over the details in just a second. But first of all, some of you may see floating around, because there are a lot of them around, this memorandum from the chairman of the Appropriations Committee in the House and the vice chairman in the Senate. It talks about an agreement that was had at one time on the disaster money and refers to the Puerto Rico being shortchanged and refers to the fact that we need to make sure that doesn't happen. So I want to give you the facts just for just a second. Georgia, which I represent, is one of a number of states which include Florida, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alaska, California, and Hawaii, have experienced significant disasters in the past 2 years. We saw the fires in California on our TVs. We saw the volcanoes in Hawaii. We saw the blueberries in Georgia fall off the vine and be destroyed. We saw all the things that happened to these crops in these places. We saw Alaska's earthquake and all the damage it did. All those things have received nothing yet. Puerto Rico has already received $40 billion for disaster aid for what happened in Maria, and there's $19 billion of that money remains unspent. So it's not that Puerto Rico hadn't gotten any money. They've gotten a lot of money, $40 billion more, and the amendment that I want to talk about in just a second gives them $600 million more. But there's a lot of places in this country that are states that we all represent have gotten nothing and had big disasters in the past 2 years. And these disasters are hurting our economy, our people, and our states. So I want to, any of you that see this email or this flyer tomorrow, or any of you hear the debate tomorrow, what has happened is this flyer says that Vice Chairman of the Appropriations Committee, Leahy, is going to object to the substitute that's going to be offered by Senator Perdue and myself tomorrow to the bill that will be debated, unless Puerto Rico gets a better shake. Point, Puerto Rico's already gotten 41, only spent 19. They got 19 left to spend, 19 billion left to spend. We had 600 million in the amendment we're going to offer tomorrow to see to it they don't run out of SNAP money at the end of this month, which is they will because of the way that everything stands currently. Puerto Rico's being treated great now. There's their CDBG money, which they want. No, it's not in there. There isn't in there for anybody else either. Fair is an interesting word, by the way. Fair, I think, is when you and I are treated fairly. We both get equal, proportionate shots at money or opportunity or things of that nature. Unfair is when somebody weights the formula against our favor, or somebody takes undue advantage of a special situation. Well, this is a special situation. A lot of people are going to go without help by the end of next month. Farm bills are going to come due, and banks are going to foreclose on them. There are going to be a lot of people in agriculture who are going to be hurt badly. People who have been hurt by the fires in California will not be helped. Those who experienced earthquake damage in Alaska are not going to be helped. A lot of people are not going to be helped. What we need to do is put off this guise of fairness, and let's just be really fair. Let's see to it that we put the additional $600 million in, which the amendment does, see to it that people on SNAP in Puerto Rico get their money. Let's see to it that those people in Florida and Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina and the other states that have been damaged by hurricanes or floods or volcanoes or fires get their money. There are going to be more emergencies, and we all know that. We've all hated emergencies for a lot of reasons that appropriators most especially have. Nobody wants to have to do that. But when our state, your state or mine, is injured dramatically in a disastrous hurricane or a tornado or whatever, we as a country have always compassionately dealt with the results of those storms, the losses those states have felt, and helped those states get back on their feet and those people be served. We're not asking for a hand up, we're asking for a hand out, we're asking for a hand up in each of those states, and they've been waiting for a long time. And I will tell you as one who knows what I'm talking about in Georgia, and I'm not saying this is true in any other state, although I know it is. We have farmers who've gone through a cycle and their farm financing was done through banks that at the end of this month are going to have to either act on those loans and call them for payment or have a refinance schedule knowing they've got some money coming down the line. If this passes, it's agreed to by the House, and the banks get the message that we're trying to help them like we always have in the past, they'll have a chance to make those negotiations, pay the money back that they borrow, do it over time in production and give people jobs in the fields rather than go back and tell them we can't give them any money, we can't help them, have them lose the farm and lose the business, and us lose a lot of jobs. It's just not right and it's not fair. And I used the word fair just then because I think fair is the definition of seeing to it Puerto Rico and Georgia and South Carolina and others get help. They have an agreement. So I will tell you, when you get this, read it. It sounds like we agreed to something 3 weeks ago, and all of a sudden we're not agreeing to the same thing. That's not true. We agreed last week when we left to what this would be tomorrow, to what the supplemental would look like, what would be included in it. And as I understood it, in my sense of understanding, we had agreed to all the things. Was there enough money for Puerto Rico as far as Puerto Rico said? No, they wanted more. Would Florida have liked more? Georgia would like more? Yeah, they would have liked more. But in fairness and equity, what you'll vote on tomorrow is fair and equitable to those people. And I would urge you to consider and listen to the debate, listen to what everybody tells you what has happened, before you make a decision that anybody's getting hurt, because instead what you're going to do, if you fall for this scenario, you're going to really hurt some people who otherwise are going to be helped through deliberations that have taken part of the last 2 or 3 months. So, Mr. President, I appreciate the time. I appreciate the opportunity to come here. I wish I could talk about something other than the disasters and spending money, but I can't. A lot of you have lost their lives, their farms, and a lot of their future. And I want to see to it, to the extent we can help in an equitable fashion in those states and territories, that we do so. And I yield back my time.